I hope you don't get the sickness.
My boy Kurt is a stay-at-home dad, watching Disney movies he never had. His daughter digs through all the VHS, crushing the classics in a princess dress. Informed like Scuttle, Kurt's got your ticket, making it real like Jiminy Cricket. Most off the Captain Hook, but if the Tweedledum, he'll be taking more shots than Bambi's mom. Leaves him raised like Simba, or cracked like the beast dishes. He'll show you a whole new world, you won't need 3 wishes. Stay-at-home Disney dad.
On sacred ground today. I know a bunch of dudes my age who aren't into Disney, but they love this movie. This is their movie. Let's do a Goofy movie. Watching it for the first time. There we go. Classic blue logo and the Wish Upon a Star riff never gets old. Opens with Max running through a field towards a beauty on a pedestal. She leaps off and they frolic in the grass together. They are in love. Then it turns into a horror movie as Max becomes his dad, Goofy. He wakes up from that nightmare. That was a good intro. I'm invested. His Mickey Mouse phone rings and he's late. He gets tangled up in his own phone cord. A struggle kids today will never understand. Goofy appears and tries to help Max, but it's a complete bumblefest. 2 bumblers, 1 room. Max is on his way to school, and then Goofy stops him. He's like, "Oh, you forgot your lunch." And he hands him his lunch, and all the kids laugh at poor Max. Max then sings a song about how he's not going to be a loser anymore as kids snap jock straps at his face. Max is girl crazy. He's on a bus with cheerleaders, and they pan over from the cheerleaders to the annoyed goth girls. That's really funny. Max stands on bleachers and he sings, "Popular kids do what popular kids do." After the song, there's a big finish, the bell rings, it stops 2 students from suddenly making out, and then Max falls down the stairs in front of everyone. That pretty much sums up high school, that's fair. There's a pep rally, the principal addresses the crowd. "You know, on the last day of school, I always have students come up to me and say, 'Principal, what can I do to not waste my summer vacation?'" That's also really funny. I like this movie. Max and his friends PJ and Bobby are under the stairs building stuff, and there's a plan afoot. Max wants to impress a girl. Here we go. The regular stage becomes a dance stage, and Max appears in a yellow Flavor Flav outfit. No, he's dressed like his rock star idol. Anyway, he sings and dances, and the school cheers for him. First of all, okay, I don't think having a devoted clique that's willing to risk being expelled so you can sing and dance just to impress a girl, and then having the entire school go crazy for you as you crash the pep rally and moonwalk across the stage qualifies you as a high school loser, as he sees himself. But secondly, this has to be a record for the shortest amount of time between songs in a Disney movie. It was like 20 seconds. Goofy and Pete work as child photographers as a crappy kid, and they talk about their own kids, and Goofy claims Max is a good kid and doesn't ever get into trouble. Hard cut to Max in detention. Well done. Roxanne is the name of the girl he's after, and after seeing Max crash the pep rally and sing and dance, now she has a crush on him. Damn, it was just that easy. Powerline is the name of the rock star he emulated. He asks her to go to the party so they can watch the Powerline concert on pay-per-view together. Remember when pay-per-view was king? His friends also have detention. Those are good friends, but like, okay, come on. Kind of reminds me of the first episode of the 3rd season of Wentworth, where like every other female inmate risks adding decades to their prison sentence just to get Queen Bee out of solitary confinement to prove a point. Good storyline, but come on. Goofy gets a call at work about Max. Instead of getting angry, he's like, "We gotta bond more," and he has an epiphany. He's gonna take Max on a fishing trip. Outside the school, Max is now super popular and everyone's cheering for him. As he gets home, he realizes his dad's plan to take him fishing for the next month. He's not down with that. He's popular now. He doesn't want to go. This is a good storyline. Max is less than impressed by this turn of events, obviously. Goofy has a vacation map. It's the same map his dad had when he took Goofy on a trip when he was a kid. And I feel this. I totally feel this. I get pushing your own cherished childhood experiences onto your own children. I get it. Off they go. As they start to drive, Max grabs the steering wheel, risks their lives, and he steers the car towards Roxanne's house. Her snarling giant of a dad answers the door. I've been there. He tries to break the news to her, and she's not having any of it. Roxanne is having none of it. She says if he's not going to be there, she's just going to find some other guy to go with to the party to watch the pay-per-view. Ow, lady. Max panics and says, "No, my dad's actually taking me to the Powerline concert in person so we could be there live, and Goofy knows Powerline personally, and I'll be joining Powerline on stage for the final song, and I will wave to you from stage on pay-per-view." That is quite the lie, my friend, but I mean, hey, if you're going to go for it, go for it. They wonderfully capture the boredom of a long family car ride when you're a kid. They do a great job with that. Goofy tries to recreate the trip he and his dad took, and Max isn't having any of it. It's interesting watching this as a parent now. Interesting and sad, because I'm on Team Goofy. Goofy's trying so hard, and Max is being a moody bitch. From Max's perspective, his dad is old and boring and embarrassing. Who is Max's mom? Is this ever answered or asked? Like, who took Goofy as a mate? I'm assuming Goofy got someone pregnant. She carried Max to term and then handed Goofy the baby and got out of Dodge as soon as possible. And I can't blame her. I can't tell if Goofy mentioning how Max's mom is coming back from the store with cigarettes any second now, as the days turned into months, would have been funny or sad. They sing a song about new adventures, and Max references Beverly Hills 90210, and that was bizarre. Isn't that a Fox show? But doesn't Disney own Fox now and they didn't before? Okay, I know you can hear me out there. I want a Beverly Hills 90210, the animated series. They pull up to their first stop on the nostalgia tour at some small theater, and Goofy tells Max how fun it's going to be as some mom is dragging her screaming kid inside. I don't want to go! I don't want to go! That's pretty funny too. Inside, it's an old animatronic hillbilly puppet show. The characters are dated, and Max is way too old for this. He's embarrassed. They're nailing the constant put-out-ofness of a teenage boy. Max says his life is a living hello! A mascot screams at him and hugs Max. Max spins the mascot's head and calls him a doofus. Another great edit. Goofy buys Max a possum hat. And you know, as a dad, this is really sad if I think too hard about what's happening here. Suddenly, everyone is laughing at Goofy and calling Max Dork Jr. Max storms off, and Goofy is confused, and they stand in the rain, and Max just goes off on his dad, and Goofy's heart is broken. And my heart is broken. Sad music. Max is sad, and he's staring in the lake, and he sees an image of Roxanne, but then Goofy ruins it by walking through it in his fishing waders. It's going to be a couple of days until they hit Lake Destiny. They run into Pete, who has a gigantic futuristic RV. Inside, Max catches up with Pete's son, PJ, who tells him how excited he is that Max is going to be on stage with Powerline. Oh yeah, the whole town is talking about it. Gulp! Pete tells Goofy he has to be firm with Max, so Goofy demands Max gets his fishing gear, and the gap widens. The gap widens. He's trying to teach Max how to fish, but of course he bumbles it. He ends up snagging Pete's steak from off the grill, and Bigfoot ends up eating it. Bigfoot! Goofy catches a Bigfoot and takes a video of it. Shouldn't this trump everything currently going on? Documented proof of the legend? As someone with a degree in cryptozoology, I think I know. How bored were you during lockdown? Bigfoot wants to kill them. Pete takes off in his RV, and Goofy and Max barely make it into their car in time. Okay. They address the fact that they now have video evidence of Bigfoot, just as Bigfoot busts the camcorder and yanks out foot after foot of the videotape. And guys, you know what? That's still salvageable. You just need a screwdriver and a new casing. That's like 99 cents in 5 minutes. And you know what? Never mind. We're moving on. We get into Stephen King territory as they're stuck in the car waiting for the Bigfoot to leave. Eventually, Bigfoot starts dancing to the Bee Gees, so pretty much exactly like Cujo. Goofy and Max actually bond, bringing up old memories, and they make up. Max eases up. Bigfoot starts shaking the car again, and Goofy's like, oh, this is a good time to sleep, I guess. Goofy watches Max sleep, and he's very emotional about how grown up Max is. Then Goofy falls asleep, and Max writes Roxanne a postcard. Why doesn't he just text her, is what kids watching this in 2021 today are asking themselves. Max accidentally opens the map, and he sees the road to LA, and there's a plan afoot. He erases the pencil line they have been following, like Goofy's trip, and he draws a new one to LA. The next day, they're at the diner. His plan is working. They're on their way. Montage of their journey and stops, and Max is starting to get into it now. They stay in some weird underwater-themed hotel, and Pete shows up. He pretends to be the police and busts down the door and pretends to shoot them. That's a good joke. Pete asks if he can hook up the RV to their room and run some power. Pete overhears Max telling Pete Jr. his scheme, how he changed the map. Pete is such a shit disturber. He just can't wait to tell Goofy about Max's betrayal. Why is anyone friends with Pete? Pete tells Goofy about Max's map, switcheroo, and Goofy defends Max. He doesn't believe him. Sad moment of Goofy in the car. He checks the map in the glove box. This is not going to end well. Heartbroken by his betrayal, Max is now into the trip, and Goofy isn't. The script has some surprising and wonderful depth. I love how you can be on both sides. Goofy lets Max read from the map and is like, here's the junction. We going left or right, buddy? Left or right? I love Goofy. Max is trying, and Goofy's just not having it. He pulls over the car and storms out. Max gets out and like, what's wrong? And they start having it out. As they're having it out, the car rolls backwards down the hill. They keep fighting as the car rolls down the mountain. They keep fighting as they run, and they get inside, and it lands in the water. I'm not your little boy anymore. I have a life of my own now. I know. I just want to be a part of it. Parenting. That was heavy. That was real. It's getting real in a Goofy movie. They transition to a song out of that scene. It's a duet as they float along sitting on top of their car. And like all father and son fights, it's resolved by a joint song sung atop the family car as it floats down the river. Goofy tells Max all that's left is for him to get Max on stage with Powerline. Wait, what? Of course, they're heading towards a waterfall. Goofy uses his fishing rod to hook the car before it goes over. But then Max goes over the edge anyways, and Max falls, Goofy falls, Max has a parachute, Goofy ends up falling, and Max has to use his fishing knowledge Goofy gave him to cast, and he catches Goofy, saving his life. Everyone is alive, and they hug, and also can we talk about how easily Goofy got on board to join Max in his deceptive plan and harebrained scheme to get on stage with Powerline just to impress the girl Max talked to for like the first time ever a week ago. But like as a parent, I kind of get it. You never know when the last time you're going to connect with your child in the proper like father-son dynamic before one day you wake up and he's a young man and suddenly you're on more equal ground with each other, you know? When's that day going to be? Going to be today? Tomorrow? You have a year left, a month, a week? Okay. The kids are watching the Powerline pay-per-view at the party and they're calling Max a liar, but the girl stands up for him. He'll be there. Max fights with the bouncer and of course he ends up on stage with Powerline, and guess who else ends up on stage? Yeah, it's Goofy. Okay, I can understand why Max knows all of Powerline's dance moves, but why does Goofy? Everyone at the party cheers Max on pay-per-view. They see him on stage. She is in love, like biting her bottom lip in love. That's love. They pull back home later and Max thinks that she will never talk to him again. Okay, what? You did the impossible. You got on stage like you said you would, like you lied about. Why would you even try if you thought this wasn't going to impress her? What is the point of this? He comes clean with her, and he says he lied about Powerline knowing his dad. So he actually pulled off the world's biggest lie, and then he comes clean after he's in the clear. She wants to hang out, and he says he can't, because he's doing something with his dad. They agree to hang tomorrow, and she kisses him, and he hooks like his dad, and that's kind of a touching moment. He goes home to his dad and fade to black. I mean, this movie is obviously going to hit different depending on your age. I know how I would feel watching this as a young kid, and I know obviously how I feel watching it now as a dad with a son. I wonder how a teenager would feel watching it, though. I don't know. Okay, cast. Jenna Von Hoy, Joey Lawrence, wow, not even top billing, sorry, whoa, not even top billing for Joey Lawrence, and no one's gonna get that joke. Goofy movie, I'm kind of numb, loving it, go hug your teenagers.
That's what I think about.
What do you think?
What we have is a concern about Curtis Anderson. His interviewing style is not the best. His personal appearance is not the best. I was wondering if the man has some kind of a hold over the channel that he's allowed to be employed for so long with the standards of journalism and personal appearance that he has. Thank you.
Okay, Macy. Here we go.